Phase 1 of Marvel is over for me, and I'm glad I'm done talking about them because those movies are boring. Now I'm delighted to be moving on to the phase that is slightly less boring. Phase 2 consists of Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man. 6 movies yet again, but I'm only talking about 5 of them this time. Avengers Age of Ultron will be getting its own video after this one, and before my review of Phase 3, so it's not like I'm just skipping over that one. I have a lot of shit to say about Age of Ultron, and it would just drag this video out to be way too long. Also, just something I want to say, yes, I know Ant-Man came out after Age of Ultron, but it's still considered Phase 2 to the people who created this universe. Same way, Spider-Man Far From Home came out after Endgame, but it's still Phase 3, and it's not the start of Phase 4, that will be Black Widow. For some reason, they're too afraid to end a phase with a big team-up movie. Think of it as a mint after a big meal. Let's get to it. After Iron Man 2, I wasn't really excited for Iron Man 3, and to be honest, I actually missed seeing this one in theaters. I heard it was even worse than Iron Man 2, and after watching it twice now, I can say it's certainly much better than Iron Man 2. This movie is pretty fucking good, if I'm being honest. The biggest gripe I hear is, it's not accurate to the comics, cause the Mandarin in the comics is different Mandarin than the Mandarin in the movie. Let me just start out by saying, if your excuse for not liking this movie is that it's not accurate to the comic books, here's what you should do.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
Seriously, you're a shitty dumbass if you think that's an argument. I could give a fuck about your precious comic books. But the Mandarin isn't supposed to be killing, it's supposed to be being king. Oh, God forbid the movie do something that defies your expectations. The twist reveal that the Mandarin isn't actually Ben Kingsley was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I didn't see it coming, and it made me laugh. It seems to me that all these comic book nerds just want to know everything that's going to happen in a movie before they even see it. I don't get that. Plus, not everything in a comic book translates well to the big screen. I mean, just watch any Fantastic Four movie. I respect Iron Man 3 for changing the source material to better fit this universe. Also, I like the fact that there isn't a whole lot of Iron Man in it. Tony Stark definitely gets about 75% of the screen time, but it works. His character is explored much deeper here than either one of its predecessors. There's this kid that's in the movie. He's a really good addition. I like his acting, and he plays really well off of Robert Downey Jr. The action in it's the best it's been out of all 3 Iron Man movies. There's more than just robot suit action, there's smaller fights with Tony Stark too. Also, it avoids cliches, and the humor is great.
So now you're just gonna leave me here, like my dad?
Yeah.
It isn't perfect, just like most Marvel movies. A lot of shit just makes no sense. But, I mean, it's a Marvel movie, so that's to be expected at this point, right? It isn't very rewatchable. Like, I've seen it twice now, and that feels like plenty. It's nowhere near as bad as Iron Man 2, but it's also not quite as good as the first Iron Man. Don't listen to the haters. This one's not that bad. Not even close to as bad as Thor the Dark World. Ugh, this one sucks ass. And not in the good way. It makes the first Thor look like Lord of the Rings level good. I cannot believe how shitty this one was. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. It fucking annoyed me. I wish they would have killed off Kat Dennings and her stupid little intern cracker. Dumb bitches. And like, what even happened in the first half of this movie? It's so boring, like nothing happens. The main villain is a joke. Malekith, the dark elf that wants to cover the whole universe in darkness? Oh, I wonder how that's gonna go down. See, when a movie can keep the stakes low, I tend to find myself more invested. I know this Star Trek looking slut isn't gonna destroy the universe. You don't have to make the villain threaten humanity in every movie. I know his plans are gonna get fucked. Ugh, I guess it's not all bad. Loki's likable here. The whole 10 minutes of screen time he gets, he steals the show.
Fine, as you wish. I'm not even here.
Oh, this is much better. Whoa. Costume's a bit much. So tight. Hey, you want to have a rousing discussion about truth, honor, patriotism? God bless them.
The action is also better here than in the first Thor, which means jack shit when your story's fucking trash. I think the final battle's good. I like the idea of people fighting through portals, constantly moving from planet to planet. The visuals are good too, but that's it. This movie can join the Incredible Hulk in the Not My Blu-ray collection. This is by far the best year for comic book films since 2008. It had a pretty huge fucking misstep, I'll tell you that. But Captain America Winter Soldier came out, and good golly was this one fantastic. Right off the bat, I noticed something. It didn't feel like an MCU superhero film. It felt like a spy thriller, one where the stakes were small enough to feel on edge and not predict where the plot was gonna go, but big enough to leave a huge impact on the universe as a whole. I've revisited this one many times and I'm still drawn to it. It took a generically perfect hero and brought him down to earth. He actually kills people in this movie, straight up. Brutally fucking murdering cocksuckers left and right, and it is awesome. The Russo brothers are absolutely my favorite directors working on this universe, and this is their first entry. They somehow managed to craft a Captain America film that, in my opinion, is better than the first Avengers. It's not just superhero action, the story is actually complex, but not in a confusing kind of way like Batman vs. Superman. Captain America is faced with genuine moral dilemmas in this movie. Each villain is someone he's trusted before in his life, so the whole time, he, as well as us, the audience, have no idea who's real and who's corrupt. That's not an easy thing to do, but they actually pulled it off. The Russo brothers perfectly balanced a brilliant story with incredible action. Bucky is a lot more interesting here than he was in the last one. Same goes for Captain America. This movie made him one of the most badass superheroes I've ever seen. Unlike that last movie where they made Captain America boring and all he did was stuff. Only complaints I have are like, this scene with the computer head dead guy feels a little out of place. The first 30 minutes after the opening action scene is a little slow, but those are like nothing complaints. In the end, I'd put this one up near like X-Men 2 or Infinity War. It's one of the best of all time.
Get that away. Hey, you me, you big blue bastard. Take those headphones off. That's mine. Those belong to Impound, that tape, and that player is mine!
This is the big one in Phase 2. Everyone loves Guardians of the Galaxy. At this point, I was pretty over the generic Marvel formula and was pleasantly surprised by how this didn't feel like a Marvel movie. It gave me vibes of Star Wars more than anything, and if you know me, that is certainly not a bad thing. The trailers looked so weird and not epic at all, I couldn't fucking wait. And what do you know? James Gunn gave us one entertaining ass movie. The characters are all just great. I didn't care that much about Gamora or Nebula yet. Their arcs get more interesting in the later movies. The scene stealers for me are Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and my favorite, Drax. They're all so funny in their own way. And honestly, I prefer Groot in this movie way more than Baby Groot or Teenage Groot. Even side characters are really interesting, like Yondu. Unfortunately, the characters are also where the movie is at its weakest. I'm referring to Ronan. This guy is a boring, bland villain. A trend I'm beginning to notice. He's just this Egyptian smurf who's rebelling against Thanos for ultimate power or some shit. He's clearly the weakest link here. Yeah, he's a physical threat to the team, but that doesn't work because 1, he lacks motivation or a reason for us to care, and 2, Thanos is clearly more powerful, and we all see him in this movie too, so like, we know Ronan isn't gonna be the badass villain that overpowers Thanos. And you know, he might have been able to work if he was funny, like the Guardians. So it would have matched the campy, spoofy tone of the rest of the movie. Another thing I really hate is the names of everything. All the names. Yondu's gotta get Nakdu from planet Rondu. Meanwhile, Landar's gotta rescue Xandar from Yandar, cause Yaktu's teaming up with M'Baku to fight the kaiju. But yeah, other than that, Guardians of the Galaxy is a pretty great movie. Would I say it's one of the best? I don't know about that. Maybe one of the MCU's best, but it kinda gets old after a while, so it's nowhere near the best superhero movie. Like I said before, Age of Ultron is getting its own video, but a few months after Age of Ultron, we got a much smaller film, Ant-Man. Edgar Wright was the original director for this entry. If you don't know who Edgar Wright is, he's incredible. He did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Baby Driver. He's literally never done a movie that wasn't awesome. So the fact that they hired him got me excited, and when they fired him, it got me wondering why. Disney bought Marvel shortly before this, so I've come to the conclusion that Edgar Wright just wanted too much creative freedom. I mean, a director of this caliber should, right? But Disney and Marvel just had to get their dirty little paws all over the project, so they fired him, probably steal all his best ideas, incorporate it into their film, and hire some punk-ass director no one's heard of. Seriously, think about it. The best scenes of the movie, the ones where like Michael Pena tells his stories really fast yet drawn out, they feel like humor straight out of an Edgar Wright film, probably because that was his idea.
You know, but there was a rosé that saved the day. It was delightful. And he tells me about this girl, Emily, that we used to kick it with. It was actually the first pair of boobs that I ever touched. So he tells me that she's working as a housekeeper now, right? And she's dating this dude, Carlos, who's a shot caller from across the bay. And she tells him about the dude that she's cleaning for.
Right. We take Pete's car, we drive over to Mum's, we go in, take care of Philip.
I'm so sorry, Philip.
Then we grab Mum, we go over to Liz's place, have a cup of tea, and wait for all this to blow over.
I really wish he would have directed this. I feel like it could have been great. What we got was still good. Honestly, I feel like I enjoy Ant-Man more than most people. The small scale and disconnect from the rest of the universe alongside great humor made it lots of fun for me. I love Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. I feel like he's the best possible choice. Michael Pena is fucking awesome as well. The final battle, the one where they're tiny on the Thomas the Train set, was comedy gold on every level. It's seriously one of my favorite final battles in the MCU. I love how creative all of it is. What I hate about the movie? Take a guess. The bad guy. Bumblebee Man. I don't even remember his name. Wasp? No, that's the girl, right? Hornet? Yellow Jacket? Stink Bug? Bumblebald. I don't remember. See how memorable he is? I've seen this movie twice in theaters and at least once since. Evangeline Lilly's character as well as Michael Douglas's character suck ass too, which is a shame, because I've liked them both in other things. With all that said, it's still a pretty good time. I'd watch it again. I'd rank it here with the others. Age of Ultron fits somewhere on here too, and if you really give a shit, you will stay tuned for that review, where I will reveal its placement on the ranking list of Phase 2. Also, sometime soon I plan to review From Justin to Kelly, when I finally decide to watch it.